Hi folks, this is Rose from In Rose's Garden, and today we're going to make a stretch bracelet using parts from our Bargain Bead Box September Misty Rose. It's going to use these pretty shell beads that are I think they're man-made, crushed in resin, and put together. So those are really cool. And then the bead caps, some of the little copper spacers, stretch magic, and a little copper ball that I got out of my stash, as well as one tiny little rose quartz rondelle, which is large hole, which is where we're going to hide our knot at. So all you need is from your box is the pieces, some stretch magic, something for your focal. That's what this is. And if you don't mind not hiding your knot, then you don't need this, but I like to hide my knot, so I got a little tiny rose quartz large hole bead. It's a little rondelle, so it's not going to take up much space for hiding my knot in. So let's turn down and we'll get started. So anyway, as I say, here are our pieces: the little rose quartz, the extra ball, the beads, and our stretch magic. So the first thing, of course, we're going to do is get some of our stretch magic out. We want, well, I like to get a goodly amount so that I've got plenty. So I'm going to cut it about right here. I think that's probably going to be close to 9-10 inches. Let's see. It's actually a little over 12, and that's fine. I prefer too much than not enough. And the first thing you want to do is stretch it. Stretch your cord quite a bit so that it's already stretched and you don't have to worry about it stretching out on you as you wear it. Then what I do is I put a bead stopper on one end so that as I work, I'm not, well, I have more than enough, and this has got a really weird notch, so I'm going to cut it off right here since it's damaged anyway. And we'll start. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use my bead caps on these beads, and then I'm going to put one of these little copper ones in between each of the bead caps, like put the copper, and then a bead cap and one of our beads, like so. Then we'll put the other bead cap on the other side. Another copper ball, and so on until we have the length. Well, I shouldn't say the length we want, because we have to put our focal in. So we'll go till we figure we're about halfway there, and then we'll put our focal in. And if we need, since I more space, we can just work it out. So see how that's going to look? It's pretty simple. Just we'll just keep going till we get where we figure it's about halfway. We'll put in our little focal piece over there, and then We'll keep going, get to the other side. If it ends up being about the right spot, we'll put our rose quartz on and tie our knot. So see these 4 width is about almost 3 inches. It won't stay that long because when you put it around your wrist, the beads themselves will take up some of the space. So actually it's only about not quite 3. So we need at least 1 or 2 more pink beads over here before we put on our focal. Now let's see where it is. If it's about 3.5. I am going to put the focal on now and then do the other 5, and we'll see where we're at. And if we need to, we then will put some more on either side. So this is our focal. Come on, go in there. Now, why are you not wanting to? There we go. Come here, you. Do any of you get to the point where your fingernails are too long to pick up your beads, or if they do, they go underneath your fingernail? I periodically have to cut mine for that reason. I like a long nail, but they do tend to get in the way sometimes. Oop. And I'm klutzy enough without having to worry about my nails making me more klutzy. Inevitably, I'll have at least 1 or 2 beads on the floor before I'm done. Looks like I need at least a few more bead caps. Let's get a few more out. Hope we don't need too many, because a few more is about all I've got. So this one has one of these little pieces of, I don't know if it's a seed or a piece of grass or what exactly it is inside the bead. It's what they use to tumble them. But so there is 5 and 5. bead stopper on this side. And see how long that is? That is exactly 7. Now when you wrap it, like I say, it's going to become much smaller. So, as you can see. So I think we're going to need to use these other 4 bead caps to get some more beads on either side here to make it be a little longer. Because, yeah, see, it doesn't even make 7. Well, it does maybe make 7. Let's see. Close, but no cigar. So we'll put the other 2 sets of pink beads on. And hopefully that'll be plenty because, well, that's all she wrote. So we'll put our large hole bead right here because that's where it's gonna have to be. So swing these down here. Actually, we could push these down a little bit more over here because so we have some more room to work with over here. Put this on. I knew I pulled another one out. There we go. This. There. And our other little round one. And there we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Not be on there. We even have some beads left. But let's measure this now. And it is now saying it's 8 inches. It won't be 8 inches. Because when we put this around, as you can see, it's not 8 inches. It's more like, let's get her up here to where they all come together here. That's not even quite there. It'll be about right here, maybe a little less. And we got about 7 1/4 to 7 1/2. I think we're going to end up at about 7 1/4 when all is said and done. So let's pull our bead caps off and we'll get the knot tied. So to do this, you want to take your 2 ends and level them up and stretch. You want to stretch a bit more. You don't want to stretch it till it breaks, obviously, but you do want to stretch a bit more so that you've got the stretch out of your wire so it doesn't stretch with the weight of your beads as you wear it. So then take your 2 fingers, take your strings, pull them around, go underneath once, make sure you get both strings under there. So I didn't get both. So there's 1 and then 2, and now you tighten this up as you release your fingers out. Tighten it up good. That should be good. Stretch it a couple times to get that knot set. And she's done. Now we'll cut off the extra string. Now I don't cut it all off. I just cut so it leaves a little bit there. And if you're going to glue, this is the time. I usually put a little Hypo cement on mine and then drop the glue, the knot into the large hole bead, so we'll stretch it some so we can see the knot. Get the Hypo cement out and drop some glue onto the knot. I like to get it on both sides, and then I'm going to close it before I worry about it, because the Hypo cement will continue to come out if you're not careful. Now move your knot into your hole like so and let it go. You can see my little strings are still hanging out there. Want them to, so let's pull it through some more till they don't. There we go. And now we have to set it aside to dry the Hypo cement, which really doesn't take very long. So there's the bracelet. And isn't she pretty? So there's our little stretch bracelet. I'm not going to stretch it because that knot is still wet, but I think it turned out really pretty. This is a really cool focal. You could use any focal you want. You could use a lampwork bead there if you wanted to, or no focal at all if you don't want one, or one of the other beads from out of the box. There is the large matte rose quartz, which would look pretty there, but there we go. And if you haven't used your porcelain beads for something else, they do have a large hole, and they would work for where I have the little rose quartz here for putting your knot in. They would also work for as your focal if you wanted to do that. Anyway, so there's our bracelet from the September Bargain Bead Box, Misty Rose. I think this is pretty. It turned out nicely. And this has been Rose from In Rose's Garden, and we'll talk to you the next time.